Okay, what? So we're celebrating Grandma's 70th birthday party. These are birthday flowers. We're gonna bake a cake, we're gonna make candy, and Aaron's gonna film everything. So we're really excited. You have anything you wanna say about your birthday?
No.
Are you excited?
Yeah.
No, she thinks I'm making all the cakes out of a box mix, but I'm only making 2 that way. So Grandma's getting a German chocolate cake. Are you gonna help me make a cake for Grandma? Okay. So we found a tip online, because that's really nice, that if you don't have cake flour, but you need cake flour for a recipe, you can add cornstarch, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch to 1 cup of flour. So first you add your cornstarch. Here, add that. Dump it in there. Good job. So you put these in first because you want all of it to measure out to 1 cup. Now dump that one in there. Good job.
And I do 9 parts.
Okay, now I'm going to put this in here and you'll dump it in the bowl. And so one tip my grandma taught me when I was young is when you're putting flour into a cup, that you poke a butter knife down in the cup to get out any air bubbles. And then you scrape it back to make sure you cover the back and forward. I learned almost everything I know about baking from my grandma. Can you dump that in there, please?
Sure.
So we're going to go ahead and get this flour in the bowl, and we'll check back in with you in a little bit. So right now I'm creaming the butter and the sugar. This is something when my grandma helped me when I was a little girl to do by hand with the hand mixer. But thanks to technology, we have a stand mixer, and I use it every time I come over because now that I'm older, I like to bake for my grandma because she spent so much time baking with me when I was young. Now that I have a 3-year-old and a baby, I know how much work it took for her to take the time to bake with us when you have someone throwing flour everywhere and sugar everywhere and measuring wrong. But my grandma was ever patient, and she always took her time with us. And so every time that I'm baking, I think of my grandma and the memories that we made when I was little. So what I just did was add the egg yolks. You're supposed to add them 1 at a time, but one of them broke in the bowl, so I added them as I could. And this is one thing my grandma taught me, is to always scrape the bowl. And you know, usually I like to taste when I'm baking, but once you add the eggs, it's up to you because obviously there are health risks if you want to eat raw egg all the time. So I only do it sometimes. And my grandma was so good about letting us taste everything that we made. She always had this great environment where we were able to listen to worship, and she played those kid songs where now as I'm an adult and I hear the kids' Bible songs, I realize she would play those over and over and over again because she loved us. And so much of what I learned about the love of God, I learned from my grandma. She taught me while we were baking, while she sang to us, when we'd stay the night, she took us in at night. Everything that she did cultivated an atmosphere of love. So when I bake, I have so much enjoyment because the love that my grandma showed me, and how that love was an open channel for God to love me through my grandma. So I'm getting ready to add the vanilla. And one thing I think I enjoyed so much as a child was that my grandma lots of times didn't measure things when they didn't have to be measured. And so she would just give it a good eye and dump in the vanilla. And so I found myself as an adult adding extra vanilla to everything. I'll eyeball it, and then when I think it's enough, I add a little bit more, and I'm pretty sure I got that from my grandma. So now we've got our buttermilk and our flour mixture that we mixed up earlier with the flour, the baking soda, and the salt. And we're going to alternate the flour and the buttermilk. If you don't have buttermilk, you can always add a tablespoon of vinegar or lemon juice. But today, since it's my grandma's 70th birthday, I bought real buttermilk. So I'm just going to add a little flour and get it mixing. And then I'll add a little buttermilk. And we'll do this until they're completely gone. this is how we're gonna get really light, fluffy batter for a German chocolate cake. These are our 4 egg whites from earlier from the yolks. And we're gonna beat these until they form stiff peaks and then fold it into our batter. That will make the batter light and fluffy. Okay, this is a wash bowl. I was notorious when I was young for making the biggest messes. My husband can tell you when he first met me and I made his first meal for him, he walked into my grandma's kitchen and there was flour everywhere, a total mess. So my grandma is a huge advocate of the wash bowl. In other words, while you're baking, always have some bowl or a sink full of hot, soapy water. So as you're baking, you can wash up your dishes as you go along, wipe off the messy table. Our son Adam just got into the sugar, spilled it everywhere. We're gonna clean it up so Grandma never knows until she watches this video. We're getting ready to check and see if our cake is done. And looks pretty good. There's our light and fluffy German chocolate cake. In the meantime, we've got our mixture of butter, sugar, egg yolks, and evaporated milk melting over low heat. And then at the end, we're gonna mix it with the other stuff. So Samuel's helping me in the kitchen. What we did is we took our coconut mixture and our pecans, chopped pecans, and we put them in a mason jar. The great thing about a mason jar is you can just shake it up. Can you shake it up? Can you shake up a mason jar? And you can mix them really good. So when our butter mixture is done on the stove, we'll pour this in and add a little bit of vanilla and the filling frosting will be done. So the big surprise for my grandma's cake, because she is so amazing. Even right now, the whole kitchen smells like my childhood. Growing up, coming over to Grandma's, either something was baking when you walked in the door or she'd make something with you, and those memories are so dear to my heart. So what we're gonna do are take rose petals and we're gonna candy them. How you do that is you brush them with egg white, thanks Samuel, and then you put sugar over the top and you let them dry for 8 hours. So on top of my grandma's cake, we're gonna have a big rose petal heart because she has been the heart behind so much. Between me, my brother, my sister, my cousins, my parents, my aunt, uncle, she has always been that loving presence who helps you. And even now, she's helping with my kids, her great-grandkids. Not many people have the love and the affection to be able to do that, but my grandma is that person. She is so amazing. She's so full of the love of God, and I'm so thankful for my grandma. I love you, Grandma, and this is for you.
Go ahead, Adam. What are you doing?
I put in flowers on you, Grandma. Grandma.
Is this
Grandma.
What are the flowers for?
For
birthday cake?
yeah, for her birthday cake, Grandma.
Are you being a godly helper?
Yeah.
Is Grandma gonna have a birthday party?
You're going to Grandma.
Anything else you want to say, Adam?
Is there anything else you want to tell Grandma?
No.
Okay, you want to tell her happy birthday?
Happy birthday.
So yesterday I made a homemade batch of caramel. Caramel is one of my grandma's absolute favorites. Really easy recipe. So what I'm going to do is take this nice cold caramel and add it to my warm coconut pecan mixture. And this is going to be the filling and the frosting. And I just know Grandma's going to love it. Right now we're scooping on our caramel pecan filling. And this will also serve as our frosting. Doesn't that look good? Grandma, this is for you. Whose birthday cake is that, Adam?
Grandma,
Does it look yummy?
it's looking yummy. Right?
Yeah.